Hello, and welcome to the weekly broadcast of Strategic Speaking for Results. I'm Elizabeth Bachman, your host. Do you ever feel as if you do lots of work behind the scenes and nobody ever notices? Quite often, it's the invisible work that women especially do, or people in assisting professions, that is crucial to the success of a project, crucial to the functioning of a team, but it doesn't get recognized. It's as if you only count the things, say, that directly bring in money. If you're in a company that only records sales or only records how many projects you've done or how much code you've written, then you're not going to be recognized for all the little things that knit a group together. And yet, those functions are really important. Quite often, this is what women do. And so I think of it as, how do you talk about the value of things not going wrong? If you're good at risk management, if you're good at enabling a team, putting a team together and smoothing out the problems or heading off problems from overhead so that the team can actually get their work done, that's a skill. That's a skill that's not often recognized. Here's the thing, though. You can teach your company and you can teach your managers to recognize this if you talk about it. Now, it's hard to talk about to prove a negative. What I have done is created a proprietary system where you can prove your value by comparing it with a horror story, with something that went wrong in another company, and say, this is something we never do, or something that went wrong in a previous job that you had, where you said, oh, I was around the year that everything fell apart and we got sued and it cost the company hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I swore I would never do that. I would never let that happen on my watch. So I take steps to prevent that. Think about the good things that you do. Think about the everyday things that smooth the path for everybody, and then write about it. Think about what would happen if you hadn't been there. This is particularly important for those of you who are in risk management and who are combating fraud, for instance, because if you've done your job right, nobody knows that you were there because you solved it before it happened, right? But if you know that you have put something in place that's going to minimize a risk, do an exercise and say, what would happen if we had not been there? There's always a conflict between the people who want to just cut corners and go ahead and do it the fast way, and the cautious ones who say, there's a reason why we have these rules, there's a reason why we have these regulations. Because the movers and shakers and the exciting people who just see how we can move ahead and get it done faster, those are the people that, as a culture, we are primed to recognize. You have to talk to them about why following the rules, why checking the boxes is important. The great Bonita Bonducci said it better than anyone else. She said, we are primed to recognize what the firefighters do. And everybody says, hooray for the firemen who put the fire out. But nobody recognizes the person who made sure that the walls were not flammable, made sure that the sprinklers worked, and made sure that the smoke detectors are working. Nobody recognizes those people. So there's a lot of glory for the firefighters, and yet the house has burned down, the family has no place to live, and maybe somebody's in the hospital. Whereas the person who made sure things did not go wrong doesn't get the recognition that they deserve. This is a huge piece of showing your value and being visible, is how to talk about the things that go right and why it matters. If you're curious, contact me. I have a whole course about it. This is something that has made an enormous difference to my clients. It's made an enormous difference to me. It's a very important skill in our workplace these days. You should be recognized for it. This has been Strategic Speaking for Results. I'll see you on the next one.